I recently came across a couple images that I really wanted to use on decals, and I thought this Maisto 1929 Ford casting would be the perfect thing to put those decals on. What with Christmas right around the corner, I seem to be exceptionally busy for some reason. And to a degree, I'm not exactly sure doing what, but I seem busy. So, looking at this casting and the images I want to put on it, I thought this is great because I'm not going to strip this. I'm keeping this basically the way it is. I'm not changing the paint. I'm going to add a little detail to it. I'm adding the decal set, but that's about it. So it's a fairly simple build. And to be honest, that's probably what you're going to see from me between now and the end of the year. I do have the Winter in the Wastelands 4 build coming up. Yeah, that's the middle of January that's due. And let's just say that that's going to be a little more complex than this build. But there you see this casting. It's nice. It screws together. The paint's really good on it. I like the look of it. It almost has a look of a bone shaker to me as well. There you see it has the glass is held in by a post, and the front dash and steering wheel are held in by a post. The engine has a nice look to it. The engine, surprisingly, and you'll see this a little later, it comes apart. There's actually multiple parts to that engine. I popped the wheels off of here. Well, I popped the wheels off I popped three of the wheels off. Let me put it that way. One of them I just couldn't get off the axle. But you see that back white area? I just didn't care for that on the wheel. So that's something else I'm going to change. I did have to, drill that out to get the glass out. The glass, when you see how little glass actually shows on this, you kind of wonder why it even bothers having glass. Particularly the rear side window area. It's like, why did they bother doing that? I get the front glass, I guess. They could have totally gone a bone shaker route and just not had any glass at all. But they chose to put in this really small. I mean, you look at that glass piece, and there's actually more plastic used just to hold it in place than actually shows through the windows. And here you see it. There's those two little tiny side windows and that really small front windshield and all that excess. But it's fine. Yeah, it's all in great shape. It's a brand new casting. Now, because I'm putting a decal on the roof, and this casting has a matte black roof on it, I didn't want to, I wanted to put a clear coat on it because you always want to put decals on a clear coat so that they adhere properly. If you try and do it on a matte paint, it's just not that great. There you see the image for the roof. That's the Mooneyes Christmas party poster for 2024, which, as I'm recording this on December 9th, was 2 days ago, on Saturday, December 7th of 2024. I used a piece of white decal paper for under that poster because it's nice and square and easy to lay down a piece of decal paper that's white, as opposed to using the white toner decals. White toner decals were created for, as you see here, this circle on the back, and for the images that are on the side, as well as the license plate that I replace on this. This one has a Maisto license plate. There you see, here, that moon Santa is the image I want for the doors. I saw that moon, that Santa moon image, and I loved it. I thought about throwing it on a van. I thought it wouldn't look right on a van, just the shape. Something about it, if it was curved the other way, but I wanted the eyes facing forwards. So on a van, it's almost like the curve would work against you on the back of the van. So there you see the white toner decals I'm laying down, and I put the color decals on after this, off camera as I recall. But you had to use white toner decals on this because of the intricate images there. here you see the wheels. One of the things I hated about the original casting was the white on the back of the wheels, particularly in the front of the car. It just didn't look good. It was a terrible look. So I ended up masking these wheels off so that I can shoot the backs of them with matte black. But I wanted to keep the red and white walls on the front. I wanted the red wheel, I wanted the white wall tire. And so masking this off this way lets me just shoot these from the back, get them black so that they just kind of vanish in a way. There you see them all masked off. They kind of vanish in a way as opposed to just standing out so boldly like they do on that original casting. And you'll see it again when we go to the turntable shot at the end. The 3-part engine, here you see, that comes out. The exhaust comes off. Like I said, oh, no, that's right, the exhaust doesn't. Just that. I'm sorry. The center section and then the exhaust is under that. But one thing I wanted to paint is the radiator hose on this. I painted it flat black because, that's generally what radiator hoses on. If you take a look at these engines, if you do a Google search, you'll see it's usually just a standard radiator hose. I guess an argument could have been made that, it's a braided line or, something like that. I don't think so. Not for me. I wanted this just to look like a black rubber radiator hose. And then I added the detail on the exhaust so that there's at least black openings in those pipes. Same on the intake. I hit that with black paint to put black dots there as well. So it looks like those are open. It's just adding a little detail to it. On the dash, it's tough to see the dash through those really tiny side windows. But on the dash, there's 3 gauges. Fortunately, the steering wheel isn't glued in place. That pops right out. And what I ended up using on this was a white pen to just color in those gauges white. And you'll see that here in a second. This is one of those gel pens. And I think I have a set of 3 of them that I picked up at Michael's. A year or 2 ago. And they work perfectly for something like this. The gauges were great because, there was indentations for the gauges. So it made doing this exceptionally simple. Trust me, that is not freehand drawing of these ovals. No. If I didn't have the ridges I was doing that in, it wouldn't have turned out that neat. The interior. The interior is a funky, thin plastic piece. Really thin plastic. It's hard to describe how thin that plastic was. I was shocked. But I painted the seats with some red, just trying to make it look like it was striping on the seats. And then I added, foot pedal detail and the shift knob detail. Oh, and a little detail on the side doors. Not a lot there to work with, but it was fine. And then I used the silver Sharpie on the base to add some detail to that. So again, this is taking basically a nice looking casting and just adding detail to it. It really is a fast, simple build. Made even more so since I wasn't changing the wheels on it. I like the look of these wheels on this car. So, I end up sticking with them. And then it has the chrome hubcaps, that go right through the wheel. And you see that I just slipped those wheels back on, but now the insides are black, which on the back of the car really didn't matter because you don't see them, but on the front, man, it makes a difference. I don't know why they didn't do that. It would have been very easy for them to do. Like on the wheels, the paint, the car itself is painted exceptionally well. The wheels were exceptionally shoddy in how they were painted. I still like the look of them, but Maisto could have done a better job on those. But again, it looks good, so I guess they kind of figure why bother. And if kids playing with this, kid's going to beat the hell out of it anyway. So does it really matter? anyhow, after I got all those decals on, I did go over the body with a clear coat. And you'll see that here, I think, in a second, if I remember right. Yeah, here you go. So there you see the Moon Santa on the sides, the Moon poster on the roof, the speed equipment logos on the rear deck lid. The glass pops into place, and it's a surprisingly snug fit. Lord knows why they had the post to hold it in there, but since they do, I end up, once I have it, popped into place there. There were 2 holes, interestingly enough, in that glass piece. So I'm imagining that they used it on another casting as well that had a post in a slightly different place, or maybe the posts were in different places on this casting, depending upon, which casting they used. I used the resin pin to just secure that a little better. I don't think that glass is going anywhere, even without the post or without any glue to hold it in place. That's a snug fit. But why not? It's simple enough to do that. Putting the dash in, I don't know why I had such a hard time doing it, but I ended up doing it off camera, and then once it's there, now I'm showing it to you. You didn't get to see me fight it for a while. And I used the resin pin to hold that in place as well. The interior, you'll see me squeeze the sides in because, again, it's exceptionally thin plastic. And then you just kind of force that into place. And it pops in. Again, that's probably not going anywhere. As you saw when I took it apart, I needed a small screwdriver to get that out of there. And it's funny I added that detail on the interior because truly you can barely see it. So at this point, everything's basically done. The car screws together. What more could you ask for? And before I started fumbling with this too much, I remembered that I wanted to put a magnet on the screwdriver just to hold the screw in place. Because there's nothing worse than, you're trying to get something together and the screw keeps falling off. So, there's basically the 2 posts. There's the one in the back into the metal body. And then the front one is actually, through the base into the engine itself. And that's a plastic engine. If you didn't realize that already, it's a plastic engine. And so, lining it up was a little bit of a pain. But, that holds that front end in place. There's a tab, you might have noticed it just a second ago, on the front of the body portion that actually goes under the engine. It's a small tab, but the engine helps hold that front end in place as well. Or holds the front of the body in place, excuse me. And I just needed to snug it down a little bit. But again, this was a really straightforward build, and I love the Mooneyes Christmas party or Christmas event poster when I saw it, and I love the Mooneyes Santa with the cap. So I just had to use those. So here you see the original casting. It did have a trailer hitch on it. There was a reason for that. But look at those white wheels on the inside of the wheels. Look how horrible that looks. Look how much it takes away from the look of that car. Where if those were black, it's just a substantial improvement. The matte black top, you can see there why I needed to hit that with a clear coat before I put the decals on. And there you see it with the decals. I just love that Santa. It's funny. They're also, now you see the back of the wheels, how they're black. I thought about getting rid of the chrome as well, but I decided against it. I wasn't bothered by the chrome as much as the white. The white just really bothered me. There you see the old California plate with the moon wording on it and the speed equipment logo on the back deck there. But I'm pretty happy with this build. And you'll get a better look at the poster on the roof here in a second. But here's some glamour shots. And I hope you like this as much as I do. And everybody stay safe and healthy out there. And I'll catch you in the next one. Merry Christmas, everyone.